Yeah, not the result any was expecting. A painful, humbling, and humiliating performance of Manchester City Football Club. We've lost 1-0 in the FA Cup final, and honestly, I've been sat here for about 10 minutes just sort of trying to collect my thoughts and get my heads around it. Heads, plural, just as focused as City are apparently. My head around it, and I've struggled. I really have struggled. This was a painful slap in the face of Manchester City Football Club, a genuine humbling that we probably needed. I was sat there sort of semi-convincing myself that this could be a really nice, end to the season, sort of, nice little moment, a chance of sort of redemption after a horrible winter month, winter part of the season, lots of losses and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, we probably didn't deserve that. You can't be as poor as you have been at that point and get the fairy tale ending for De Bruyne to walk off and lift the trophy. Just ultimately not good enough. And that is the story of Manchester City this season. The thing that gets me is there's quite a sadness watching that game for me. I'm not really that angry, actually. I actually sort of subscribe to the idea that City were probably the better side on the day. And you look at the stats and the chances and all that kind of stuff, and City had more than enough chances. The thing that gets me really down is that we just couldn't really capitalise on them. We couldn't. We're just not good enough, unfortunately. Like, I look at the chances that City had, and there was multiple where we got through and goal and we faffed and stood on our own feet and dawdled and gave the ball away. And I will get to the super chats, by the way. Thank you so much. Please keep them coming in if you want to. But we got the ball through and we took too many touches or we were too slow. Or we got the ball into good positions and we hesitated. Or we got clear chances and couldn't take him, be it the penalty. Or Echeverri towards the end when, I'm not going to blame him, we'll chat about him later. But the point is, I don't see any scenario in previous years where we don't score an equaliser there at some point. We are fearful of ourselves right now. We are not the same aggressive, confident side that we used to be. I just don't think City are there anymore. And that, to me, is the issue. They're just not there. This is not a team of killers. This is a team that doesn't believe they're going to win things anymore. And ultimately, City used to win. I keep saying ultimately, I'll try and stop saying it. But City used to win games because of their sheer fear factor. The big characters got big. As Diaz used to say, when we lose, we get big. There's none of that anymore. This isn't a mentality monster side. This is a side that can be done by Crystal Palace, and they can just sit back, soak up the pressure, and they know we're probably going to waste chances, unfortunately. And that is the issue. And that is very hard to sit and watch when we've been fed the finest of steaks for years, and now we're getting this. This is a Wetherspoon steak. It's all right, it's fine, but a 5-star Michelin restaurant, and that's what we've been eating for an awful long time. And this is probably as far as you're going to get with the quality we've got right now. And there's some really, and I say this sadly, I actually do say this sadly, and I mean this because I don't want to be angry at these players. I don't think they didn't try. I just don't think they know what to do. I don't think it's there anymore. I think there are some real serious conversations to be had about the quality of certain players, whether they can become the winners, maybe, with certain things. And, and I'm not going to, throw the baby out with the bathwater, but I think it's answered the questions that were on the fence. This was meant to be KDB's day, but it would take a very brave man to sit there and still defend the idea of letting De Bruyne go. I say this fully well, knowing once again that De Bruyne is aware of my content and so on. I love this guy. But it made me sad watching that today. And the only reason I'm talking about De Bruyne first is because this was meant to be De Bruyne's day. It felt sort of symbolic that De Bruyne today had the game that he did. It felt symbolic of where Manchester City are at with this squad, if you know what I mean by there. He's a shell of who he used to be. He is. The physicality's gone there. A couple of times where he got the ball and we were about to counter, and he fell over his own feet, and it was sad to watch. It's just not good enough, unfortunately. And he couldn't do it. And I was like, that's where City are. That's where City are right now. And he was by far our best player. Mate, he created some chances, but Seth, he gave the ball away multiple times, mate. He kept giving the ball away over and over. And he still played some nice passes. And do you know what? I'm going to say this exactly what De Bruyne can do and what he can't do. De Bruyne can still play the shorter passes like he played to Echeverri. You can play those, but the way he played to O'Reilly, the ones that don't take immense power from a standing position, he can still do that. His mind is still there and his vision's there. But when he has to be physical anymore, he can't do the powerful runs and he can't play the whip crosses. And he did actually one to Haaland in the back post, but 9 times out of 10, he's giving it away loads more. And look, he keeps getting caught in possession as well. And I know you all love him, but it pays me to say it. And this is not De Bruyne's fault. None of this is De Bruyne's fault. He can't run with it anymore. But the point I'm really talking about De Bruyne is because this was meant to be his day. This was meant to be his day, and it's not happened. And it felt symbolic of where we're at. Like, if you want to know where City have gone, you've got a guy who was 10 out of 10, and he's just dipped a lot, man. Like, and it's wild that people can't see that. Like, I don't want to see that. It hurts me to say this out loud. And the thing is, look, the elephant in the room, of course, is the red card. Henderson should have been 1,000,000,000% sent off. He should have. He absolutely should have. Yeah, I mean, I think that you can judge the performance in the second half away from that incident. Look, he should be sent off, man. Henderson, 1,000,000,000% should be sent off. It's a diabolical decision. It's a cowardly decision, actually. A truly cowardly decision. There is no possible justification for not giving that. Haaland gets that. He goes round the keeper and he puts it in the back of the net. It's that simple. It's an absolute, utter embarrassment of a decision to not send him off. The most clear, blatant red you'll ever see. And he probably gets sent off. City probably push forward. And they probably do equalise against 10 men. I know we felt like we were never going to score. But the point is, we haven't played a fair game here. We absolutely haven't. He still can take Manchester City's performance in isolation and go, it's not really good enough. As I said, I still think, De Bruyne still had good moments. He still created chances. But City as a side, without changes, we're going to dip if we keep playing this current selection. We have to move on. Some super chats before I get onto my thoughts again. Brian said 95% of teams play 10 man behind the ball. Why is Pep not adjusting like playing direct to long ball? From minute one, Palace did the same thing. Well, when we did that, we got him behind and should have had a red card for them. Brian, I don't know, mate. Maybe he doesn't know. Like, watch Echeverri come on and try and get between the lines and rarely get picked out. Thanks for the chat, Brian. It was sort of painful to watch. Another one here from Azu said, Henderson red card might change the scenario. Absolutely, mate. As I just said, he probably would do. I think you can talk about the red card and the frustration of that and in isolation with the performance and what it means as a and look, City of old anyway, even without the red card, still equalise and still win that. And I know we're not the City of old, but I think you feel that City are going to turn up. And we were playing quite well for the first 20 minutes, really assertive. We penned them back. But as soon as they scored, like the whole quality of the performance definitely dipped an awful bit. And yeah, it could do, mate. You're right. Some more super chats coming in. It says, watching Doku and Savino in the wings is unbearable, Adrian. Both of them have their merits, but they are not world-class players. I thought Savino was really good at the start of the season. Right now, his confidence isn't there. He was poor today, actually. He was poor, really poor, unfortunately. Bereft of confidence right now, Savino. And just a prospect still. Doku is just, Doku is Doku. Likeable in terms of his intensity, but when we're so used to watching, we're linked to Rodrigo, for example, on a different level of quality, a different level of output. Doku's, I admire his relentless aggression, and he a couple of nice balls. 1-2 O'Reilly was really impressive, and he created a couple of moments, but it's just not the level. It's not world class, is it? I agree, mate. Super chat as well from Thandeka. There's nothing attached to it, mate. A couple more here. Russ Davis said £500 for that shower of shit. Doku Savino just could not good enough. Sub should have been on at 60 minutes gutted. I get it, mate. An insane amount of money to spend on an incredibly disappointing day, and I feel for any Blues who've travelled down to witness that. Look, what I say as well, by the way, I know Palace were frustrating with the red card should have been off, and they did a lot of time wasting. Very obviously, I don't fucking blame them, man. I'd be doing exactly the same for them. That is the biggest day in the history of their club, the most important day in the history of their club, and they've won their first ever trophy. And I'm not blaming them for the dark arts. I would be doing exactly the same if I was a Palace player. And honestly, respect to them. They needed that. They deserve that. Congrats. Absolutely congrats. They wanted it more. They wanted it more. Adrian again said, sad part is it'll affect the Bournemouth game. Can you explain why Pep changed his backline for Akanji? Nunez was integral. Kick Akanji out. Look, yeah. Akanji, Guardiola loves him. I think he wanted the back. He wanted some comfortable possession for the 2 and the 3, so he played Diaz and Vardiol deeper. Look, and largely he kept the control of Akanji, Nico O'Reilly, and Bernardo. And I understood the logic of that. But Akanji, yeah, he's like I thought Nunez deserved to start, by the way, based off his performances as well, with pace going forward and so on. I don't think Nunez and Akanji were really the issues. I think the issues are deeper than individual players here, if I'm being totally honest with you, mate. Not that you're wrong, but I think the issues are clearly much deeper than that. They're clearly further than that. Yeah, but I would be happy to see him move on as well. And Decker, look, there's a super chat there. It says, why change a winning lineup? Why did Akanji play? Again, the same thing, mate. Look, Guardiola is indebted to these players. It's hard to watch, isn't it? It's hard to watch, mate. I'm not in disagreement there. I'm not even the biggest Nunes fan, but I think he deserved to play because he sort of got us there, and that's how it's been going. Look, it's tough to take this. It's tough to take, and look, I'll go through in like the moment to moment. Like we actually started quite assertively, and I thought we were playing quite well. Actually, I was quite impressed with the relentlessness, and I thought City were up for it. The goal itself, it's a long ball to Mateta, who does really well. I will always, there's mistakes in the goal. I actually do think it was a pretty good goal from Palace. There were a couple of mistakes. Like, Akanji's not touch tight on Eze, but it's hard to be. And actually, look, I don't think he was perfect, but he got to him. And it's a perfect cross and a perfect finish. And it's a good goal. It's lots of perfect touches from Palace and a very good goal. And we could have done better. And it already got caught in behind. But it's a good goal. It is a good goal. And we need to react to it, The penalty situation, by the way, I'm not having that. The thing, look, if Marmoush wants to take penalties, that's fine. But the thing for me that bugs me is that 2 years ago, if you'd asked Haaland, would he give up a penalty in the FA Cup final? Does anyone think he gives that up? No. Haaland was this mentality monster who'd scored, I think he scored 38 out of 40 penalties or something like that in his career. Genuinely, it was ridiculous. He was always scoring. I think his confidence is gone, man. I genuinely think his confidence is gone. He gave the penalty to Marmoush, which Marmoush, fine. If they want to take the penalty, go for it. But this guy's on 500 grand a week. He's our star striker. Can you imagine Messi or Ronaldo ever giving up a penalty? They are the standards here. Salah would never give up a penalty. You don't give it up. He should have took it, man. That's it. It's Wembley. He's our main man. He's our talisman, and he's giving up penalties. And I get the frustration there, but it's quite concerning for me, if I'm being honest. It's in a final. You lean on Erling Haaland. You absolutely lean on him. And I know he's missed a few recently, but that's on him to change that. I was disappointed. I love him, but it's weird. It's weird to me seeing Haaland look so insecure. You can't have a 500 grand striker who's insecure. And he streams he should never be giving that up. And that's something we need to change because Haaland doubts himself. I'm sorry, but I'm not comparing him to Messi. I'm saying the elite level players, the league, Lewandowski. Does he the guys who score 50 goals a season? They don't give up penalties. They don't. What if Haaland took it and missed it? That's fine. But the point is, it's fine. What if? The point is you're meant to take penalties when you're that guy. And the reason he didn't is because he doesn't fancy it. Exactly. As AJ just said, the reason what we've always heard about Haaland is if he misses 9 shots, he believes he'll score the 10th. I don't think he believes he will anymore. That is worrying. That's the point I'm making there. That is a team that's bereft of confidence. Ronaldo never gives a penalty up. No. The greats don't. And Haaland is meant to be a great. And he will be a great. But his head has gone a little bit. It's not good, that, man. And Marmoush missing the penalty. Look, I admire the confidence there. And I know he's a goal scorer for Frankfurt. But look, Marmoush is not the issue here. The miss would destroy him. Look, mate, he shouldn't destroy a guy. That's the point I'm making. Certain players are meant to be above confidence issues. And Haaland is meant to be one of them. I know that sounds mad, but they are. Haaland is in the bracket of people like Lewandowski and, he's talked about people like, the greats of the game. One of the most natural goal scorers you've ever seen. And, he's meant to be one of the great natural goal scorers. They just don't give up penalties. It's concerning to me because it says to me, it's not... It's what it says. It's the bigger picture. It says, I am not confident I'm going to score. And you've got a guy who scores 50 goals a season, not confident he's going to score. Oh. What is going on, man? What is going on? I don't know. Marmoush looked surprised. I don't know. I didn't see that sweet, Kwame. I don't know. It's worrying. It's absolutely worrying. And the thing is, someone's going back to De Bruyne. Someone said he created 2 clear chances. Yeah, look, De Bruyne, I think De Bruyne, what he can do, he can do the stuff that doesn't take a lot of power anymore. What made De Bruyne so freakish was his venom. De Bruyne was a guy who did everything with intense venom, in intense aggression. He'd whip crosses just like that. And you'd be like, how did he just ping that? perfectly from 30 yards into someone's head. How has he just rifled the ball faster than a bullet train into the top corner? Like, everything would be just so powerful. He would bulldoze past people. You'd have to have people hacking at his ankles to take him down. All that. He'd do all that. And you wouldn't be able to stop him. But he can still do the shorter passes to Echeverri, to Nico O'Reilly. Those things he's fine because he has the vision. And like, they don't take power, they take vision. But De Bruyne is a guy who plays on power and physical ability and that the power in those legs. But it's not there. You can't. It's so. Look, he occasionally can. He occasionally can, but the amount of times he just doesn't lift the crossover man was just so hard to watch with KDB. And I love him, but it's like you can see his physicality is gone, and that's what makes me sad. And he still creates chances, but he gives the ball away so many times, and it's just it's hard to watch. And it's like it's just not the same quality anymore, you know. And it's difficult going on to throughout the game. Of course, they could have scored. It was offside. It was offside. It was the right call. We did have some moments towards the end of the game. I mean, looking at the stats here, like I know you guys don't care about this, but it goes back to what I was saying at the start of the video. City did actually have enough chances to score, you know, like 23 shots, and you know, I think the XG, if you're an XG believer, says 2.3 to 0.7. So City should have scored. They should have scored. I think of moments. I think of Nico O'Reilly not getting a shot away in the centre. I think of Echeverri. I think of the penalty. I think of Haaland's chance. I think we should have gone around the keeper and he should have had a chance there. I think of a couple of times where, you know, people fired it over from the edge area that it should do better. I think of more chances. What were the shots? You know, I can't remember exactly now. You guys will remember more. But there were moments where City should have scored. They absolutely should. Henderson making save after save after save. Henderson shouldn't be on the pitch, of course, but we should have scored, you know. De Bruyne should have scored, maybe. Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, it's... My leniency is more disappointing. Look, no, I'm not being lenient here. As what I said here, my view of this is actually we created some chances, but the most worrying thing for me is that we just didn't know what to do with them. That is what's worrying to me. We played like an okay team without the killer instinct. City don't usually create that much more chances in a game like this, but the difference is in previous years, De Bruyne goes, fuck you, Palace, I'm Kevin De Bruyne, and he scores anyway. Or Haaland 2 years ago, of course he scores. Or we had Mahrez, who doesn't care for their fullback and puts it in. Or we had Sterling, even then he'd score, you know, he was much better than what we currently got out wide at his best. We had a confident Phil Foden, who goes, fuck you, Palace, and puts it in the bottom corner. Or we had Rodri, who, like this, or Gundogan, who would score. These are the levels that I'm on about. This is what I mean in terms of, we actually created some chances, but the difference is, it's just, the confidence isn't there. That's what I'm on about. And that, to me, is not because, you know, oh, we're feeling a bit low. It's because the team is just not quite as good anymore. You know, it isn't. The wingers don't score goals or create a great attitude. Haaland is, you know, Yaya, David Silva, all these names. Even Bernardo Silva, his best was a fuck you, I'm Bernardo Silva, I'm going to score. Look against Real Madrid. Aguero, yeah, these are the names. And look, I understand, like, it's hard to be at that level forever, but we haven't got the mentality. That's what scares me. I worry the mentality has dipped, and it's not there. This isn't a team of winners. And I look through, and like, there's some talent there. There is, of course, talent there, but these guys who haven't. Nico O'Reilly is a young talent. He's going to have a really good career. But, you know, Diaz doesn't seem to have the same mentality anymore. You know, Doku, I like him, but does he seem like an intense winner? I don't know. Haaland's gone. Marmoush toiled. Bernardo, I thought Bernardo actually was, Bernardo's one of the only ones who's dropping deep and trying to get the ball. The quality's gone, but Bernardo was trying to get us going, demanding the ball off the centre-backs to try and get us forward. But still, the quality's gone. And, like, where's the winners, man? Where's the Johnny Stones with the big balls? You know, he used to get the ball and drive it up the pitch with him playing as a number 8 in the Champions League final. Like, Jack Grealish used to, when he was at his best a couple of years ago, winding everyone up and just like proper winner out there battling. And it was a physical battle. We bullied teams. It's just, that's what I'm on about. I don't look at this side and they just look scared. They just don't know what they're doing. Let's talk about the Echeverri substitution. As thrilling as it was, I actually thought the Echeverri substitution was a little bit, it was the most un-Guardiola thing I've ever seen. It felt like a swing, a random swing, and it was fun, but it's so on Guardiola that you can only presume it's a little bit desperate. Like I don't know, man. It just doesn't. It was strange to me. As much as I wanted to see it, it was just strange. I'll go back to that in a minute again. Brian said, "Why can't we put 10 behind the ball?" Why do you want 10 behind the ball, Brian? You want us to sit deep and keep? I don't understand. What's your logic, mate? I don't understand the logic behind that. Andeka says 2 finals, no DM from Pep. We could miss Champions League football. I don't even think a DM was the issue, really. I don't think it is. You can argue it was, but we weren't like getting, absolutely battered on the counter. It happened once, and let's be honest, we conceded those goals with Kovacic and Gundogan, Neverland, and even Nico on the pitch this season. So it's not like it's made any different there. I think the issue more, once again, was just a quality issue. But yeah, maybe it is a DM issue. I don't know. I don't think DM changes our issues today, which is we couldn't score in a month of Sundays, Mr. Roll-Up says Pep must evolve his tactics next season or Pep how? Look, he has to. Yeah, Pep has to. Look, I mean, the team has to shift up. Maybe the Echeverri thing is a sign that Guardiola is sort of giving up on some players. Let's talk about Rico and McAtee not being involved in the squad. This is not a conversation on their inherent quality. But Guardiola has had McAtee in pretty much every matchday squad since January, and he's been bringing him off the bench or starting him semi-regularly. Guardiola loves Rico Lewis. He's talked an awful lot about him being so intelligent and so on. Guardiola played Rico Lewis in the semi-finals, and he scored to basically get us to the final. And today, he dropped them both for Vitor Reis, who's barely played, and a guy who's never been in the squad full stop in Echeverri. You could turn around and say, football-wise, that is the right decision. But mentality-wise, based off the consistency of Guardiola, he's dropped 2 guys that he's relied on there entirely, and 2 academy lads, City fans, who played a lot in the previous rounds, and said, no, not you today. 2 random South American guys who barely played. It might be that they're better players, it might be, but look, that was a real, I would say it was almost a barbed, not a dig at them, but it was definitely a message to them. That must have been quite painful, actually. It must have been quite painful for them to take, because it's interesting. Like, you've got every right to do it, but it's a bit erratic. It is a bit erratic. Do you know what I mean by that? It's just unpredictable. And even the Echeverri substitution, distribution is vital for DM. Look, we didn't struggle to keep the ball. 81% possession, mate. We got to the edge of the area where we always got absolutely fine, pal. Always. We were there outside the area, but no one knew what to do with it. There was no ingenuity, no creativity, no the other little movements that Gundogan would make into the pockets, or the little one-touch passes, or the little darting runs, and all this kind of stuff. Like, none of that. Like, yeah, Vitor Reis was never coming on today. I mean, I'll look at the bench again just to remind me who was on the bench. Kusanov's on the bench, so he's never. Nunes is on the bench. Vitor Reis is never coming on today. If we need a right back, if we need a centre back, Kusanov's coming on. That's it. That's it. So and then Rico can play left back, midfield, or right. I'm not saying he should have been on the bench, but I'm just surprised. It was a very strange decision. He said that Guardiola sort of, to me, it's interesting. It's notable, like that Guardiola. I think Guardiola is. I'm bringing him on, by the way. Bringing Echeverri on today. Yeah, it's thrilling. It was, and I thought he had a nice little cameo, actually. He came on and he was aggressive. He kept the ball really well. He got a couple of shots. Here's his stats for the game. So he had 8 touches, 8 passes accurate. He had 2 shots on target, 3 shots blocked. He was a bit naive to give a free kick away at one point. Yeah, he came on and made a very obvious positive impact. Like, I can't deny that Echeverri has an uncanny ability to get himself involved. That much is very obvious to me. But I just can't understand the logic. It felt like, look, Guardiola is a man who absolutely thrives on control, and he thrives on experience and knowledge and a preconceived plan. To randomly throw on a kid we've never heard of that he's resisted being involved at all until right now, to me screams that Guardiola's not thinking straight. He isn't thinking straight. It might be the right call, but it's just confusing. Like, he might be a better player, but it is confusing. Like it seems a bit desperate. We don't have to like it or agree, but it does scream of desperation a little bit, and it does scare me a little bit where Pep's head's at right now. And we have to accept that this is a humbling for Man City. We are going to have to move on from a lot of these players, and I think they've got to move on because I don't think the players are there anymore. I don't think the players mentally have the belief in themselves, and Kovacic was injured apparently, by the way, so that's it. I like Echeverri, by the way. I think he's got a spark to him. I am gutted for KDB that this is how he sort of bows out. And I hate that I had to talk negative about KDB. I'm not trying to be. I fucking love the man. I really do. I'm not trying to be negative about Kev. Like, I love him so much. I really do. I get it. I get it. Like, I get it. Like, he's not gonna get better from here. It's gonna go down, so we have to move on. But he's not the only one we've got to move on from. You know, he's not the only one. It's just so many. I mean, there's nothing to criticise for Echeverri, to be honest, mate. I thought put your personal friendship. I don't have a friendship with KDB, by the way. I just don't. I've been on, as you watched the start of the video, I said I've been very honest. People will criticise. He's not. I don't think he's there anymore. I've spent the whole video saying that, and people are actually having to go at me for saying that about De Bruyne. It takes a lot of bravery, by the way, and I'm bigging myself up here to be negative about the club legend who follows you on fucking Twitter, knowing that you might see this and still be honest about him. And I have been honest. I've been honest. I don't think KDB played well at all today, mate. I know he had a couple of nice passes, but I think KDB, that's not KDB anymore. That's the short pass is fine. Anything else? No. Brett Brooks, I can't see the super chat, mate. Am I missing one? Did I miss it, Brooks? I might have missed it, Brooks. I'll scroll back, mate. I'll find it for you. But yeah, my theory with KDB is that he can do the short passes now, but he can't do the long ones. He can't do the crosses anymore. I found it on the viewer activity page bit, mate, where you said, painful but deserved result. Cheers to the old guard, but time to turn the page and keep this result makes it easier up the Blues. Absolutely, mate. You're not wrong. We need to move on. We absolutely need to move on. It's difficult. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to take. I am concerned about the mentality of this side. I'm concerned about where they're going. We do need to see a real aggressive shift from Manchester City and move forward. Guardiola looked furious at full time with Henderson. Look, I don't blame Henderson for what it's worth and not being sent off. He should have been off. But is it Henderson's fault that he's not off? No. So Guardiola said he was disappointed with the time wasting. Look, Pep, it's on us, mate. Fucking... it's on us. Yeah, it's on us. It's on us. Guardiola, you can get frustrated with Henderson all you want to, but we weren't good enough today, and I think that is my biggest take from it. And it's like I would say, we did create chances, but we don't take them. We don't take them because I don't think the fear factor's there anymore. The thing is, as well, great teams. I was reading about this. They score difficult chances. They score chances with low XG. They score chances look at the quality of the goals. Look at Aguero's goal where he gets the ball. Aguero gets the ball, drives past a couple of challenges and puts it in the bottom corner. Ridiculous goal. Look at the 100 points goal. Beautiful De Bruyne pass out of nowhere, and Jesus chips the keeper for 100 points. Look at the goals in the 3-2. The Rodri goal, a beautiful goal from long distance, passed into the bottom corner, and obviously the Gundogan goals are tapping. But look at the wonderful cross from De Bruyne. I'm trying to think of other games. Look at the quality of the goal when we beat Vinny versus Leicester, exactly. An incredible goal. Vinny versus Leicester, an insane goal. Look at the quality of goals against Bayern Munich, against Real Madrid. Absurd goals of high quality. Look at even Rodri's finish. It's not that it's not necessarily about shooting from far range. It's more that they score big goals when it matters. They're not tap-ins always. The Gundo's goal in the FA Cup final, exactly in the treble. Look at that. It's a high quality goal. Quality players score big goals when it matters because that's what they do. We've had easier chances today and we couldn't take any of them. Yaya versus Sunderland, exactly. Look at the quality of these goals because that's what they do. Big players, they score big goals. And that's what separates the great teams from the other teams. They score low XG goals. They score hard ones because they're fucking elite footballers. I don't see any of that anymore. I just don't see it, man. It isn't there. It isn't there. And look, we'll have it. We'll have the moments, and I'm sure Rodri coming back will change it, and I'm sure a couple of transfers will. But it's not there, and it's not there. I just don't think we have that level of quality, and we're sort of just in the pack now. We're just a team challenging for the Champions League. We have to find that again. Maybe people like Wirtz and Reinders will come in and change that. You know. Maybe we do need to go for a Rodrigo, a guy who can score in a Champions League semi-final or whatever. Maybe these things are what needs to happen, because I'm not sure if Doku and Savinho are that level, you know? Like, that's what it is. And you say you're tired of the Rodri conversation, but I think Rodri is absolutely at the heart of all of this. Rodri there today, everything changes because Rodri is an elite level footballer who will score a goal when you need it. He's a fucking winner. Like, look at the goals Foden scored last season to drive us to a title. Like, this is what I mean. The big teams kill you with brilliance. So we can talk all we want about, we need to create tap-ins or one-on-ones. Yeah, we do. But we just, usually, for a team of great quality, all you need to do is get around the area and someone's going to score, man. Someone's going to score because that's what they do. Because you're such a good team. Because if you let a team have 81% possession against world-class players, you're going to concede a goal. But they had that 81% possession, and we didn't. And he didn't like we were going to, because they're not world-class players anymore. We're not a world-class team anymore. And I don't think any combination of players on that pitch today changes that. Some of these players need to get better. We need to bring in some mentality monsters, and some of these need to move on, because be it injuries, confidence, hunger, whatever it is, that it's just not there anymore. And it's very obvious to me that this guy, Guardiola, has to change it. He absolutely has to. 81% possession, all the shots, not score. So thank you so much for the super chat, Jack. Really, really appreciated. A big super chat. I really appreciate it. But our game is consistently some of the most boring and lifeless in the league. It's hard as a fan to see a team patiently passing it around the back instead of driving towards goal with intent. Love the streams. We'll be back. Thank you so much, mate. We are boring to watch. Look, I understand teams make it boring against us, but what makes it boring for me is the absolute lack of ideas, the lack of I don't know. Like, once again, I'm so bored of watching. Like, Akanji to Diaz to Vardial to Doku, just to run into a couple of people. Like, previously, we had Laporte out to Fernandinho sat on the edge of the area. Then he put it out wide to Cancelo. And Cancelo would link up with Sterling or Leroy Sané or, I don't know, or Mahrez or whatever on the other side. And then you have these magic magicians, or the prime De Bruyne or David Silva, the movement would be beautiful, and the Aguero. And, you know what I mean? That's the difference. It's just maybe one-touch football, darting, pace, movement, skill, lovely little touches, ideas, someone just trying to fucking put it in the top corner for 20 yards and terrifying the keeper, or even that kind of thing. Jack, you bang on, mate. Yeah, we have to be back. We have to do some real aggressive changes. Thank you so much, Jack. Mighty Morphin Green says, can the result affect the last 2 games of low morale? Billion%, mate. Billion% it can. We might not get Champions League football. Bournemouth know how to play against us, my friend. They know how to play against us now. The plastics are finished. Well, I'm a lifelong City fan, mate. I have been going since 1994. So you can call me a plastic if you want, but I'm actually from Manchester, mate. And I have watched my team through thick and thin, and this doesn't change anything for me. But it does hurt, because that realisation that there's nothing there anymore in terms of, you know, I mean, not nothing there. There's something there, but yeah, we're not very good. We're okay. We're a decent side, but we're not a great side. We're not a great side, and yeah, it is what it is. Guardiola talking after the game. Let's see what he said. Guardiola said, decided on the pitch about the penalty. I don't know. I don't speak with them. I don't know. I feel like it's the kind of thing you should know, Pep. He doesn't know. He said, we played better than the Southampton game. We were more active. We were really, really good in many, many things. We created a lot. We didn't score, and that's why we could not win. He's not technically wrong. We were more active than the Southampton game. We did create quite a few chances as well, as I said. But to me, it's a mentality thing. It's quite sad to watch, actually. So we're 11 players in the box. Penalties, wow, we created a lot. Look, Pep, we created some chances, mate, but did you believe we're going to score any of them? That's the point we're making here, man. Not good enough, ultimately. Guys, by the way, if you are new to the channel, you want some Man City content, a lot of people watching, please consider subscribing. It would be massively appreciated. And give the video a like as well while you're at it. Pep's wrong on this, mate. Where is the mentality gone? Let's see what else he says. He's not wrong. I actually think he's not wrong. I do agree that we largely controlled the game and made chances. But it's I don't know. I watched it and I felt sad watching it. Guardiola said, I think we fixed in the last month the problems that we had all season defensively and scoring goals. We gave away a lot of goals. In that period, we were so stable. We conceded 5 goals in 9 games, so we are stable. He's right. We did get better defensively. Dropped Nunes, though, even though he's a big part of it. We did. We are stable defensively, but we're flawed. We're very flawed. He also said, Doku, the whole game was brilliant as always. Doku, he's a fan of Doku. Rodri's a home mentality. Maybe he is, mate. Maybe he is. I want to see City go forward. I did like Echeverri's cameo, by the way. I think Echeverri looked smart. He looked aggressive. I liked his cameo. I thought it was quite sad that Guardiola turned to him. I know I will want it, but I just don't like it when Pep seems desperate. That is a really worrying thing for me. Pep Guardiola does not make those substitutions. He doesn't make the substitutions that seem, I don't know, unplanned and like. For Guardiola just to lean on a guy he's never brought on before is so on Pep Guardiola that it actually worries me. Do you know what I mean by that? Like it's a swing and a hope. It's believing in sort of fairy tales level stuff, and that's not to say he hasn't got the quality, but it's just not Pep to do that. He goes against all his instincts, and if Pep's starting to go against his instincts, is he losing himself a little bit? Do you know what I mean by that? Like maybe I'm being a bit harsh there, but it's just very un-Pep. Look. Consider no other options. You know, look, you could laugh about Grealish, but Grealish is a treble winner. Guardiola, I'm not saying he shouldn't have done it. I'm just saying it's so on Pep, and that is scary. That is scary when Guardiola does something so different to me. Like, I don't know. Foden and Grealish is the obvious one. Foden was poor, by the way, really poor. He was really, really poor. And I know all this, by the way, could be a different story if the referees had made the right call and sent him off and stuff like that. But I want to look deeper than that. I just don't see the point in, acting like the whole game we were good enough if that it was given. I don't think we were. So, guys, I don't know what else to say. We didn't deserve it this season. We didn't deserve it. We didn't deserve the win. We are not good enough. We are a team that needs to look at themselves in the face. We do need to move on from Ake and Stones. They're never available. We do need to move on from De Bruyne. Probably Gundogan and Bernardo as well. We probably do need to move on from people like a Kanji. And we probably do need quality. I would go for Rodrigo as available because he's a goal-scoring winger. I want to see Oscar Bob on the pitch. I think that's a guy who has the right mentality. I want to see, people like Reinders come in, a guy who scores a big goal, a goal scorer. I want to see some killers. And if I want to move on, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, guys. Give the video a like if you don't mind. It would be massively appreciated. We go again. Wish me luck. Big week for my family anyway. Hopefully another little baby blue on the way. So, yeah, I'm going to go get my head in that and see if the wife's okay, the very pregnant wife. Thanks for watching, guys. Painful.